We're going to dive into the world of tech by learning about DNS records. DNS records, or domain name system records, are essential when it comes to web hosting, domain registration, and internet connectivity. So, let's get started with a quick tutorial. DNS records are used to translate between the human-readable domain name and the IP address that a website or domain requires. For example, if you type URL into your browser will send the request to the IP address of URL. Your computer then translates the domain name into an IP address, allowing you to access the website. Now, you must be wondering, what if I want to access my website from a different location or have multiple websites hosted on the same domain? That's where the role of a DNS record comes in. A record, for example, lets you point your domain to a specific IP address. This means that if someone accesses your domain from India, they'll still be able to access your website, as long as you have a record pointing to the IP address of your server. We'll be discussing an essential aspect of the internet domain and hosting world DNS records. For those who may not be familiar with it, DNS stands for Domain Name System, and it is responsible for converting domain names into IP addresses that make websites and emails accessible. Let's break it down into four main types of records or records: MX records, text records, and name records. Each serves a different purpose and helps to optimize the browsing experience on the internet. First up is the A record, which stands for address record. This type of record is used to map a domain name to an IP address. It's essentially a one-to-many relationship, meaning you can have multiple A records for a single IP address. For instance, if you own a website with the domain name URL, you'll have a record associated with that IP address, pointing to your website's IP address. Next up is the MX record, or mail exchanger record. This record is used to manage and direct email traffic for a domain name to a specific email server. It's similar to the A record, but with a few important differences. A MX record typically has multiple entries, each representing a different email server that can handle email for your domain. For instance, if you own a website with the domain name URL, you might have a MX record pointing to an email server like URL, which then handles the email for your website. Another essential type of record is the text record, or text record. This record type is used to store additional text data associated with the domain name. For instance, you might want to store important website information like your company's contact details or product information in this record. Text records can be used to customize your website's experience and provide more information to visitors,